group, but we'll record it as always. Kay's got it. If y'all were in our huddle, I think last week, Blended Sense was our guest. We're excited to have him here for our group today. How many of y'all that are on here, are you doing video, and do you have any like content or digital strategy? Nope, not at all. None for Christy. Me neither. I didn't either, Christy, until I met Albert and Ransom. And so I'm excited for you guys to know them. They own Blended Sense. Albert's the founder, Ransom's the CEO. What's really cool about their platform is they're similar in a lot of ways to EXP, where we're national and we're all over. Blended Sense does the same thing. So if you think about when you're going somewhere and you're trying to get content, or you're speaking, or you just want any kind of social media content or marketing content at all, right? You have to go find and source those creatives. If you're somewhere else, you have to go find and source those creatives. A lot of those people you'll see following them around, it's very, very expensive to fly out your photographer and your videographer and whatever else. And so most people don't do it. I mean, most people don't do it because of the cost, and most people don't do it just because they don't know how to get started. And I think they make this a little bit more difficult than it has to be. So the cool thing about Blended Sense is they have creatives everywhere in any market. So if you're in Seattle and you're doing something cool, you reach out to Blended Sense, and they can have creatives to help you with digital content there, whether you need video, photos, whatever you need. Have any of y'all seen my social media stuff on Lux lately? Any of the videos and stuff like that? That's all, any of the good stuff. If it's me just talking, you know it's not them, but any of the good stuff that's reels or that looks produced, I mean, it is produced, it's Blended Sense. So I wanted them to come on today to talk about what they're doing, but also give you guys some tactical takeaways going into video, even getting started, or even just tiptoeing into it, because these are the ones, I mean, that's what's going to set us all apart moving forward, is different kind of content. So Ransom and Albert talk to people all over the country, not just real estate. They work with all industries. So they have a different vantage point that they can bring to this conversation. So guys, we are excited you're here. Thank you for joining us on Friday Huddle. Kay, I'm going to let you, if you can watch and let people in, that'd be awesome. And then we'll have the recording for later. So take it away.
Thank you so much. Happy Friday, everybody. Happy St. Patrick's Day. I think Elizabeth did enough explaining of what we do, so I don't think we need to spend any time doing that. I really, love these opportunities, especially when it's a small group like this. We get to really do a lot of engaging and interaction. And so today's goal, I think for me and Ransom, is going to be more about listening to you guys, hearing where you are at in your journey of content production in your business, talk through who your target audience is so we can really understand that avatar and that persona. That is such a key, right? If we just start creating content just to create content without any direction or strategy, then it just becomes additional noise. But when we do it intentionally, right, and we think about who is our target audience, who are we trying to bring value to on these digital platforms, and then create content with that in mind, then things, magic starts to happen on these digital platforms. And ultimately what we're looking for is engagement, right? I think if your expectations are set anywhere past that when it comes to content creation, you could kind of be let down a little bit, because one, it's a long game. Two, you're really trying to generate engagement on these platforms, to take that into the real world, to take that into a conversation that can lead to an opportunity, that can bring you a referral. You're trying to be in front of more people than you are, right? Brand awareness, get as much reach as possible, as many eyeballs. And if you can achieve engagement on these digital platforms with the content that you put out, then that will ultimately yield to the ROI that you're looking for, and really compound on itself once you hit a specific threshold. And so would love to hear from everybody. Give us your name, how long you've been in real estate, and then in your best words, in one sentence, describe your target audience. I think if we start there, that'd be great. Again, I'm Albert, president, co-founder of Blended Sense, and this is Ransom. He's been an advisor and investor for since the beginning of the company, and now literally runs everything under the Blended Sense umbrella. And so we love this opportunity, and let us know if at the end of this, obviously we'll leave some room for questions so we can dive in even deeper. Ransom, anything from you before we start going around the horn?
No, I don't have to talk at all. Like you got it all. I put in the chat though. I love small groups. This is bringing us back to some of our little bit of our nostalgic days. Me and Albert coming up in the big tech sales training when we would have the small groups getting into. I love the intimacy and sort of the dynamic of something like this. So to Albert's point, yeah, let's make this more of a group one-on-one. Let's make it happen. See if we can get some tactical, specific advice to what each of you are dealing with in your respective markets.
Awesome. I'm just going to call on you. So if you can give me your name, how long you've been in real estate, and then how you would describe your target audience. And we'll start with you, Michelle.
Well, good morning. I'm Michelle Peacock. I've been in real estate since 2015. And my target audience is probably mostly residential resale, some smaller investors, not very large investors, and obviously serving Aggieland, Texas. So Bryan College Station. Yeah.
Man, let's go.
Love that. Thank you so much for sharing. Nice to meet you. Christy.
Hi there, Christy Hill. I'm in Dallas, Texas, and I've been in real estate almost 5 years. May will be 5. And my target audience, this is something I always have a hard time defining because I've worked almost exclusively by referral. And so this is a limiting belief I have that I need help overcoming is I need to be everything to everyone, right? And I don't want to target someone and not pick up the first time home buyer that is getting referred to me. And so if I had to say what I would prefer to serve, it would either be the move up buyer or the luxury home buyer, because you get paid the same for doing the same, you get paid more for doing the same amount of work. But I've always had a hard time defining what that is. But if I had to say, it'd be residential move up buyers, because you get 2 sales out of it as well.
I love that. Well, I'll tell you something, Chrissy. Being in a world where you have an SOI that's generating your referrals, and that's where you do most of your business, is a really good place to be. And Ransom, I think, has something. But my question to you that I would throw back, so we can start identifying this persona, this avatar, is out of your last 10 transactions, what's the common denominator? Yes, they are referrals, but are there any dots that align, right? Is it a first-time home buyer? Is it this? And look at that last 10 transactions and see what you can find, and start to say, hey, 6 out of these 10 were this. This is maybe something, and it worked. Not only was I referred to them, but we transacted, which means that we were a good fit for each other. So, Ransom, go ahead. I can see you're about to say something.
I was going to say, yeah, I'll look forward to circling back on this once we get everyone's answer here, get more kind of a operational dig in. But I heard some things that jumped out to me that we might be able to dive in. Would love to talk a little bit more in depth about your business there and see if we can ramp that up and accomplish that.
100%. And then I see someone here it says iPhone, does not have a name,
but we see a face.
We see a face.
Definitely not a floating iPhone.
There you are.
Here?
How are you? Good morning.
Hi, how are you? My name is Patricia Escriu. I have been in the real estate business many years, but not like a part-time. So daily has been full-time. My last 10 transactions have been from Sphere, but I would like to focus on investors because I think there's less emotional part with investors. So I would like to focus on them. And I'm studying now I'm studying different certificates or preparation to understand better and to be knowledgeable to deal with them, because I want to become an investor myself. So that's going to be, so I don't know if it's a Sphere, because it has been a Sphere lately.
Hey, Melanie, it's LaQuesta.
Okay.
Sorry.
Oh, go ahead, Patrice.
Thank you. Nice to meet you guys.
Yeah. Where are you located, Patricia?
I am in Austin, Texas. Well, I just moved to Leander, Texas. So are you in Austin?
We're in the ATX. You know it.
Oh, that's great.
Oh yeah, that's good stuff. Yeah, congrats on going full time, by the way. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Patricia, do you speak Spanish or another language?
Sí.
See, And how much of your
the other
business is
partner.
English?
Yes, I'm
English
fluent in
Oh, go ahead. Sorry, you were cutting out.
bilingual. It has been bilingual. So I
Amazing.
don't want to focus only in the Spanish because it will be. I would love to sell just to my Spanish Latinos and everything, but it's a market a little bit difficult because different culture. But I loved culture, so to the Latinos, but I am not just focusing on just one market, English and Spanish. That will be perfect for me.
Yeah, that's incredible strength and separation and a unique proposition in the market. So that's awesome. Thank you for sharing, Patricia.
Yes, nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you too. Julia, good morning.
Hey there, how's it going? I am in Austin, Texas. I've been in real estate for almost 15 years on and off. The past few years for me have been my most active, and I've helped everyone because I've helped every type of buyer. But this year, I'm actually transitioning to focus my business on sports and entertainment. So that's my goal, to help athletes and, just anyone who's in, actors, singers, whatever. That's kind of the kind of folks that I've actually hang around a lot. So that's why I decided to go to that route. So that's what I'm. That's what I
That's
am.
awesome. That's awesome. I think we've seen you around, haven't we?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, we've seen you around. Man, so 15 years. So you got started in 08?
Yes. When the market, I got my license and the market crashed the first time with all
I was gonna say welcome.
the next month.
Welcome to real estate. Good luck. That's great.
Mhm.
That's awesome, Julia. Nice to see you again. And I am, that is it's strategic, but it sounds authentic, right? Like that's your target audience. And then what I heard you say is because that's who I hang around with, right? That's other people. That's my community. There's so much power and strength in that. And obviously I would encourage you to lean into it. So I can't wait to talk some more strategy around that. Thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
Lisette, good morning. Nice to see you again. Welcome. I think you just jumped in. So we're going name, how long you've been in real estate, and then if you could describe your target audience, who would you say it is?
So I've been in real estate since 2018, around 4 years, almost 5. My audience would be mostly families with a toddler, because it's in the same situation that I am. Although I've been working a lot with seniors, so interesting. Not sure why. But that's kind of my target audience. Yeah.
I love that. Let's go.
Awesome.
Super specific. Nice to see you again. Let's see, La Cuesta.
Hey, Aquesta from Raleigh. Been in the market been a realtor since 2017, the end of 2017, 2018, beginning of 2018. And I really don't have a target audience right now. I kind of work with any and everyone. I mean, but my ideal client would be like move up buyers and clients with money, and not someone with 150,000 price point.
Clients with money. Let's go.
That's ideal. Right now it's kind of hit or miss. Like everybody wants a house for 150,000. It's not realistic.
Oh, sure. Right. Some might want one for 140, right?
Oh my goodness. You have no idea.
Oh man.
I love that. Thank you for sharing. Nice to meet you. Thank you for being here.
You as well.
And then I think we've got last one, Peggy Barrios.
Hi, I am from Houston, Texas. I got my license 2020. I'm kind of similar to Christy. It's been really, my business has been really more based out of referrals.
Mhm.
I've noticed that all of my clients have been more like first-time home buyers, and some investors. which they just want, a quick sale. And it's been residential, not commercial. They've been just, wanting to flip homes. And yeah, I mean, I can't say I have a specific, because I'm actually just trying to get myself also wrapped into real estate, since I'm kind of like new in this business. But yeah, I mean, I would like to target, I don't know. I'm just open.
No, that's perfect.
Thank you for sharing, Peggy. Appreciate you being here. And I think that's it. Onboarding Meet Geek. Is that a person or a bot? It says bot.
Kay, is that you? Are you onboarding's Meet Geek?
I don't think that's us, but it's someone from our group.
Okay. Onboardings Meet Geek. So it's not a person, it's a bot, right? We don't need to, are we calling on onboardings?
Yeah. It's
Okay.
Sweet. All right, Ransom, go ahead. I think we got a nice jumping off point there.
Oh, man, yeah,
Thank
we
you guys,
can-
everybody, for sharing.
Yeah, so we can kind of distill, we can go kind of point by point, I think. And feel free, I mean, this is super informal, casual. Like I said, like this is what we love with the small group. So anyone has any comments, questions, thoughts, either unmute, type it in the chat. Like, let's make this, let's all get better as a group here. But just for additional context, for those of you guys that were on the last call where Albert and I were invited to come join, you might remember we both have a fair amount of experience in the real estate space. So Albert was the 5th employee at OpCity. I'm not sure if any of you guys have used OpCity or Realtor.com, but OpCity was a company that was spawned off from a real estate brokerage here in Central Texas that I was a part of. They actually, one of our former founders went and took the lead process and built, there you go, LaQuesta, one of our former founders, Ben Rubenstein, good friend of ours, came into Home City Real Estate, which is based here in Austin, as well as the DFW Metroplex. And they had a really, really innovative lead scrubbing and ISA assignment solution that they've been operating for years. And so he just siphoned that off into its own company, ended up selling it for over $200 million 2 years later to News Corp and Realtor. So not a bad endeavor. And Albert was kind of the backbone of that. He was the 5th employee, built out all the lead scrubbing and lead assignment models, both in English and Spanish. Yeah, I was a part of on the brokerage side. So we have a fair amount of knowledge. That's why hearing you guys kind of articulate your positions in the market and what you're dealing with, your ideal client, this is all like fun stuff for us to talk about. So I was kind of mentally distilling down. I heard a lot of people mention Sphere. A lot of people mention, being heavy referral. I didn't hear anyone mention that they're doing anything from like a lead generation standpoint. So I'm going to guess most people are trying to generate leads organically, which content is a very prominent part of that, right? Content, that's one of the most powerful parts is it's a free platform where you can engage with people that are in your ecosystem and communicate with them, educate them, entertain them, bring value to them. And so it's a very, very powerful tool if you're doing it right. But from a Sphere standpoint, man, that's the ideal, right? In a perfect world, you're getting all your business from people that know you, right? And you're getting it referred to you. So it's a warm referral. And so, but there's steps to get there, right? Most people, I think there's a few of you guys have been in the industry for 10 plus years. I heard 1 15 year, but I heard several kind of in the last 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. So you guys are probably in the business building stage. Man, one thing I would say, independent of content, the one thing we would always train agents on is to try to, I know we asked you, hey, what's your ideal client, or what's that, you guys probably have a certain transaction type that you would prefer. I would strongly encourage, if you're a few years into the business, I would focus on a transaction count, right? Used to call this a race to 100. Has anyone ever heard that? Has anyone ever heard race to 100? You guys can either nod you. There we go. All right, LaQuesta. At least one person has, right? Race to 100 was we used to always train that. It was just to get to 100 transactions, right? Whether that was those $150,000 transactions out there in Raleigh, or whether that was a $3 million waterfront home here in Austin or Dallas or something like that. Just go try to get to 100 transactions. Does anyone know why I would say that? What would be the main reason I would say that, rather than focus on price point or transaction type? Feel free to unmute and shout it out, by the way, because I don't want to
We're
talk
looking for people to work with.
Yeah, why? Why do we want people?
Sorry, what was the question?
Why would we focus on transactions over transaction type when you're starting off, when you're first? Because a lot of you guys are in your first kind of 5 years, less than 10 years, kind of building the business. Why would we focus on transactions? Whoever just said people nailed it.
It just generates more activity and more people. Like, it's just like if you have a listing and you have a sign, you can generally generate more listings or more buyers off that sign. You have activity, you can do open houses.
There we go.
It snowballs.
There we
Right, just
go.
getting your name out there, basically.
Yeah, well,
Exposure.
you want in the real estate business, right? When you guys are local realtors, local real estate experts, right? You want to build your following, your group. Now, whether that's, again, that'll translate to content. I know we're talking about content today, but from a business standpoint, you want to get to that point where you've done enough transactions where you have a relationship with, call it 100 people. And then once you do that, right, hopefully you guys are good stewards of your sphere, good stewards of your business, and you're building these relationships, you're following up with them, you're trying to maintain that relationship after the closing, right? You're doing a good job asking for referrals. But of that group, right, you're going to distill that down into sort of your, and some of you guys are probably already doing this, segment that out into your, your A clients, your B clients, your C clients. Do you guys do that? Do you guys segment them out? Or if not, we can talk about why you would do that. Okay. Hopefully everyone does some sort of version of that, right? And then those are the people you're going to want to build with, right? Because you guys are all one person a piece, unless you have a team or if you have an assistant, but you want to identify those people that you can build with. Peggy says no. All right, Peggy, we're gonna start today. Identify those A clients. What I would say an A client would be any client, right? Or let me back up. Every client starts off as an A client, right? If they've done a transaction with you, I would put them in the A category, right? Keep them in that category for a year, right? They would become and they would be solidified as an A client if they give you any type of referral, right? They refer you to a family member, a friend, a coworker, right? They do that, they stay an A client, right? B clients would be people that you've had a transaction with, maybe they haven't given you a referral yet, but they at least engage with you. Maybe they respond, they pick up the phone when you call, which hopefully should be everyone, right? And so I'm going to talk about why we segment these out. And then a C client would kind of be people that have kind of dropped off. There's not a lot of engagement with, get no referral with. Maybe it was maybe it was an investor. I'm just kind of painting a picture here. Maybe it was an investor that, like several of you have said, very emotionless transaction happened to come across you, and now maybe they have several agents they work with. C client. We're not going to, once we've identified someone as that C client, I would tend to coach agents to not, invest resources outside of things that are easy with that tier, because you're gonna start to generate a lot of your referral business and your SOI from those A's specifically, and some from the B's, right? And then what I would do is I would really nurture the A's. When I say nurture the A's, I mean these are, some of you guys might do the pop buys, some of you guys might do holiday gifts. Hopefully, if you guys have the ability to do it, do some sort of event for your clients, right? Where you're inviting your A's and your B's, and you're doing either an annual event, whether it's a summertime, it's a barbecue, a picnic, a holiday party, something where you can get them together, kind of build a community with your sphere. These are some of the things. And again, this is independent of content. We can tie content into this, right? But content, the purpose of content for you guys is really just going to be to help connect with this group. You got to build the group first. right? So these are some of the things that I would strongly recommend as you're working towards building your following, because your following is going to go bring you the business, right? If you do a good job nurturing these relationships and you're top of mind, all of these people that you work with, they're going to have, probably just as many conversations about real estate as you are. Right. Because they've got all their friends, all their family, all their coworkers, and people are always, potentially buying or selling house or leasing condos or apartments or whatever. Right. And so you want to be top of mind. But a lot of agents do a really, really poor job of staying top of mind, as you guys know. That's why there's 1,000,001 CRMs and systems and email marketing softwares out there that a lot of you guys probably get calls from trying to sell these into you. It's why every brokerage, right, whether it's EXP or Compass or Keller Williams or Sotheby's or whatever, they all have systems, right? All these systems are designed to get agents like you guys to do a good job following up with your clients and maintain that relationship. You know what I mean? But you guys can do it organically, though. That's the more powerful way, right? There's a way to, when you're doing that, to ingest content and to actually amplify that. Because once you've got the following, they're also following you on all your socials, on Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, YouTube, things like that. And then there's a way to augment and amplify that relationship you have at large. Additionally, with sort of the day-to-day building that you're doing with calls and texts and emails and check-ins and things like that. So we'll kind of let that be the lead into this. I'll pause there, see if Albert has anything, but we'll get into some more details on the back half of this training. But Al, let me know if you've got any.
Yep, that was great. If anybody has any questions on that topic, specifically segmenting your sphere, building that community and that target audience, so that then we can create content for them. I'm going to jump into the type of content to create, and we're going to kind of use all the buckets of audience that you guys shouted out earlier. But anybody got questions for Ransom or any additional points, thoughts? All right, cool. Well, for this one, definitely get that unmute button ready and step in and shout out. But let's talk about, so I just put in the chat, from what I heard, let me know if I'm missing any. Please add. We've got buyer, seller, investor. We got bilingual, we've got athletes, artists, growing families. I heard from Lisette, elders that are downsizing. Any other ones that were shouted out? All right, cool.
You got it.
Well, let's start, before we go into the target audience and content creation for them, let's just talk about brand. What is, when you guys hear brand, which is a term, we've been doing this now for 4 years.
Yeah.
The last 2 years, we've been at so many different real estate conferences, and all across the board, this is a hot topic. And I feel like it gets thrown, everybody's talking about brand, and I don't think most know what the heck it means. So what is it? I'm still figuring it out. What does brand mean to you guys? Just shout it out when you hear the word brand.
What I pick up with brand or branding yourself is like exposing yourself, getting your name out there. Like, like if they see your logo or your name, or like they know who you are. That's how I take it. And I struggle with that. Like, I actually don't even, I'm the worst with social media, with being exposed. Like,
Well,
You're not alone, Peggy.
Oh, yeah.
We've produced now over 20,000 assets in the last 4 years. And we have found this elephant in the room that I don't think any of us going into this business thought it would be, especially with realtors, which is, we like to call it emotional hesitancy. And it happens a lot when it comes to creating content. And I heard you say, Peggy, I'm not really on social media. You're not alone. There's no right or wrong way. What as business owners, what we need to understand, though, is that digital is there, it's here, and it's here to stay. And the consumer and the client is looking to engage in a different way. It's always changing. Consumer and client behavior is always changing. And today, and maybe tomorrow, the way that they want to engage with businesses and services like you guys is through digital. It's through the online platforms, it's through Google, it's through search engines, it's through YouTube, it's through social media, it's through your email marketing and communication, right? It's just the way that it is. And so there's no one to blame but our clients and our consumers for why we need to be creating content. Now, as you mentioned, Peggy, it's not easy for everyone, right? But what I will tell you is that it is a craft and a skill, just like anything else. And so it takes time and repetition. And once you get into a rhythm and a cadence and a flow, from there, if anybody's heard the Zig Ziglar Prime the Pump example, everything should be flowing. But it's all about that initial kind of ramp up. And what we're trying to do in this call is make sure that we deconstruct or take away any walls or barriers that you guys may have put in front of you that are not really there, right? So that way we can all start creating content with rhythm and flow coming out of this. As far as the word brand, Peggy, you said one thing there that really stuck home, which is memorable. They remembered you, right? Memorable. And I think that is the X factor and the key of when you do branding well. It's a pull versus push, right? And so if we're pulling people in with brand positioning versus pushing, right, with sales, now we've got organic, authentic, sphere that's not only doing business with us, but is a raving fan and authentically enjoys doing business with us and telling other people. And so I love that. Brand, one more. Who else wants to talk about brand? What brand means to them? What you think when you hear the word brand?
A household name, someone familiar, just like comes to my mind, McDonald's. Like immediately you think about fries and hamburgers, something like that. It's kind of an idea, but I don't know what is it.
I love that. Anybody ever heard the term like nobody remembers what you said, or what you did, but they remember how you made them feel, right? And so here's the thing, you guys, with brand. Right now, it costs y'all $0 to start positioning your brand online. And right now, every single one of us in here knows what our brand is because we know who we are and we know what we do for a living. And so what I mean by that is positioning your brand in digital is the same thing you do every day when you talk to clients and when you talk to your sphere and when you talk to your community and when you engage with other people. And what we're trying to do, especially in the beginning of content strategy and planning and management and output, is translate that from the real world into the digital world. And everybody has a phone and everybody can turn that phone on yourself, right? Everyone can grab a testimonial from someone the moment you finish doing business with them at the closing table, right? And so I encourage you to understand that brand positioning is step one and that it costs $0 and that every single one of us know exactly who we are and what we do and how we interact and what's authentic to us and start creating content around that first. Right? What kind of content, how to create it, that we might not have all the time for that today. But again, our goal for today's meeting is that any barriers, any constructs, any limitations that we have put in front of ourselves that it's causing us not to create content, we can remove some of those, because every day we're not creating content and putting it on these platforms, another realtor in your community is, and they're grabbing the eyeballs, right? And they're grabbing the opportunities. Go ahead, Ransom.
Yeah, I'll give you guys the kind of the main segmentation. By the way, what's up, Maria, Dwayne? It's good to see you guys. Welcome in. Hey, what's up? If you guys missed the beginning of the prompt, we're talking about we went around and got everyone where they're at and got everyone's sort of kind of ideal client, their persona, their target audience, kind of that type of vibe. And then we got into Albert was asking, if everyone had any thoughts on branding, marketing, things like that. I'll share with you guys the main difference, and you'll, if you look this up, or there's a wide variety of people that kind of weigh in on this, but generally speaking, right, you've got branding and marketing. Several of you guys nailed it. Albert was definitely hitting on it. Branding is what you're about, right? It's your story, why you do what you do, right? Albert kind of alluded to to the Maya Angelou, quote of, it's not about, people will, forget what you said. They'll often forget the things that you do, but they'll never forget the way you made them feel. Right. If you had a lot of you guys have probably heard Maya's quote on that, one of her many. But that's branding, right? It's what do you want the feel of you and your business, whether you're in real estate or not, right? That's I think Patricia mentioned McDonald's. McDonald's definitely has a brand, right? What's the vibe? What's sort of the feeling you associate with McDonald's, right? But then you've got marketing. Marketing is more, generally speaking, right? There's definitely some overlap on the Venn diagram between branding and marketing. Marketing is more the actions that you're taking to figure out, who exactly your consumer is and how do you get them to purchase or buy products from you, right? That's more marketing. Branding is more the story, right? It's the feeling, what you're about, right? Probably the easiest one on this call so far that's been articulated. Julia did a good job of saying, hey, I really want to build a brand of working with athletes, right? I'm sure you won't exclusively work with only athletes, right? But it sounds like if I'm kind of putting two and two together, you probably got an athletic background, you like the athletic mindset. Like that's definitely a certain type of branding, right? But all you guys are going to have your own personal brand, and that's where you want someone to feel something when they see your content or work with you. That's where that'll come into play, right? And then there's things you can do on top to layer that, right? When you start producing content where you can kind of maybe say the same things, you've got a tagline, you've got actual branding, logo, color schemes, maybe certain types of content you produce, certain elements of real estate that you talk about, certain features of your local community that you spotlight or that you discuss or that you put out educational content on. Those can all be aligned with your brand or what you're about, if that makes sense. It's a larger discussion than a 60-second clip that I'm saying here, but hopefully that gives some sort of clarity on sort of the distinguishing elements of branding versus marketing.
Love it.
That was really good, Ransom. Yeah, it's a lot different.
Oh, Patricia, thanks.
Let's talk about some marketing now with these personas. So at this point, we have identified who our target audience is. I know Christy's looking at her last transactions and she's like, all right, she's like doing little dots and cross-checking them. But once we've identified that, then we're doing things to bring those people together. We're nurturing those A's, right? And they're even checking in on those B's, calling them, bringing people together in events, keeping top of mind. Then we are making sure that our brand is translating from the real life to the digital via very low effort, cost-effective solutions such as DIY. There's other very cost-effective solutions out there to just start getting your authentic self out there on these different platforms. And then from there, now we can say, okay, well, now I've got cadence and rhythm. I'm producing content. My brand is positioned. I have brand awareness. I'm getting 10 likes. I'm getting 15 likes. I'm getting 50 views, 100 views. There's reach happening. Organic reach, low dollar reach on my platforms. Great. Now let me start marketing. And so now we're going to be targeted. We're going to be a little bit more strategic, and we're going to be creating content for buyers, for sellers, for investors, for bilingual clients and prospects, for athletes and artists, for growing families, elders, downsizing. So let's start with the buyers. That one, I think everybody knows and has worked with a buyer before. What are the things? And there's different types of buyers, of course. Let's talk about the first-time home buyer first. What are the things that a first-time home buyer would find valuable that you should create content around?
Any information about buying a home.
Let's go.
All of it. Help me out.
All right, let's break those down, right? So I think you nailed it, right, Julia? The first-time home buyer, let's assume that they need education around the process, right? Let's assume that they're looking to gain more education around the process. Go ahead.
I was going to say, you got anecdotally, right? You guys have probably, Julia and probably everyone else on this call have worked with several first-time home buyers. Julia, if you have, is there one thing that all the first-time home buyers you've worked with have asked or have been like, oh, I didn't know that? Is there one thing that anecdotally you've seen?
that they need to be pre-approved to start looking for a house?
Hey, sure. Listen, there's no wrong answer, right? If you're meeting and engaging with this persona, and every time you engage with another version of that persona, right, they all are confused or enlightened by the same bit of info. Hey, that might be a signal. Hey, maybe I should put content out about that because this persona that I'm trying to attract really is surprised when I share this with them. All right, well, cool. Let me just go share that where hundreds of them can see it. So yeah, they're 100% there. They need to be pre-approved, right? Most first time, if they'd never gone through the process, you wouldn't get that. That's a great one. Anything else from anybody else? Or Julia, if you got a second one, what else are they
understanding the difference between down payment and closing costs.
Ooh.
To understanding like how the whole process works, like what is earnest money, what if you're in Texas, what is option fees and things like that. So walking them through the whole steps of from the moment we go look to the moment you close your home and what that looks like afterwards.
I'm sure a lot of people on this call, Dwayne, that are muted are laughing. I see emojis popping up in the chat, but once you're like, man, understand the difference between this, everyone's like, oh, yeah, that's perfect. The checkpoints in the process and the components that they're going to have to come up with, and what's the difference. So a lot of them, I think you nailed it. A lot of them probably haven't heard those words, or if they have, they've heard them in passing. They don't know exactly what they mean. That's golden. Anything else?
What not to do when buying a house?
Oh, say it again, Maria.
What not to do when buying a house?
Oh man, these are all great. I can picture. I mean, you've probably seen some agents do this, right? Or people. Everything you guys are mentioning, I can easily picture a bit of content with this as the subject line or text on screen, right? Things that would be like, oh yeah, very clickable, very watchable points. Yeah, what not to do? If I've never bought a house before, how am I going to know what? Go ahead.
Sorry, what to expect also when they get the inspection report, if they get an inspection done.
Oh, yeah.
Love that.
When you get 30 pages of here's why the house is going to fall down in an hour, right? Why not to freak out, right?
I
love it. That's a great one.
I'm going to show you guys this host disable attendee screen sharing. Never mind. Kay has
I'll give
the
it to you.
keys.
Hold on here. Looking at this screen, some of the people like Dwayne, Julia, Lizette, I know y'all do a lot of videos. Dwayne does a lot of videos. Well, what's been the most engaging content that you've put out there? Because I think that's where everybody has a challenge is like, okay, us being in the industry, we just assume people know a lot of stuff, right? So what's been the most engaging content that you guys have put out so far?
So good. Man, brand stories always do really, really well. Your client, your sphere of audience is expecting to hear your story maybe once every, so often. Those do awesome. Authentic bloopers whenever, our clients are showing their authentic self on camera and showing that they are a person and a human being and who they are, those crush. Educational content, I think, is a very kind of unnoticed value, which is the stuff we're talking about here and what I was going to show you guys. For example, this doesn't hit the air and it doesn't go viral, right? And it doesn't have like a bunch of views out in the open, but what it does, it saves you tons of time and brings tremendous value. And so here's a team here, a local team in Austin, the home buyer timeline and educations with Armando, who's an LO. And so they created an entire library of content. Avoid this major mistake. I know, Maria, you just said, right? Things not to do. Common misconceptions when buying a home, different loan options, how we met Armando. And I think this stuff really doesn't get talked about enough. And so Lizette and Dwayne, if you guys are creating a lot of content, don't undervalue what it would mean to your business if you take the time to sit down and crank out, an entire timeline for the buyer, for the seller, for the investor. Lisette, you said a really specific target audience, right? And bring value to them in this way. I just don't ever want, to overlook that. Ransom, go ahead.
Oh, I was going to clarify. Elizabeth, were you asking us what's the most engaging, or Dwayne, since he produces a lot of video, what's the most engaging?
Actually, both. I mean, I love y'all's answers, but I would love to also know from those that are putting out videos, like who's getting the most engagement, and I don't mean just engagement by likes, right? I mean, comments, people reaching out and things like that. So I would love to hear from those that are doing it too, what they've experienced, in that space.
100%.
So in my case, I agree with Albert. The old videos and posts that I have done talking about myself, talking about my journey, talking about, who I am, those are the most that I have got the most likes, comments, everything. So it's just showing you your authenticity and who you are, and and your struggles. When I talk about my challenges, oh my God, those posts are great. So and I target moms mostly because we're in the same situation, all of us. I think moms have the power, yay. so yeah, every time that I post those things, those posts are great. Great. So not even the ones talking about real estate. So
oh yeah, love that. And let's say I want to hear from Dwayne also, but I'll tell you, you nailed it. Oh, sorry, Dwayne. I was just gonna 2 seconds.
No, go ahead.
You nailed it, Lisette. And Dwayne, I'm super excited to hear what you say. I'm guessing it's probably going to be something pretty similar, but man, something we see, a lot of our business is real estate. We work with a lot of non-real estate, but we have a lot of real estate clients across the country. And we know that in real estate, a ton of content's getting posted out. And I know that you guys in your local markets, and probably even in a regional market, you guys probably all follow these other accounts, maybe some other prominent agents or teams or brokerages, see the content they're putting out. A lot of times, just like it's human nature to sometimes look at other people's content and that's successful, maybe getting a lot of likes or engagement, and then try to mimic what they're doing. And there's some elements where you can mimic, right? It's kind of a copycat game. But one of the biggest mistakes I think that we see is people muting their own personality and trying to take on the personality of another agent profile. And that almost never works, right? Because Lisette just nailed it. Your audience can tell when you're being authentic, if you're being you, if you're talking about something that you actually embody, or being vulnerable, sharing your struggles, whether it's in real estate or whether it's as a mom or as a parent or as an entrepreneur, right? Things like that. Like humans are smart. They can tell if you're being authentic or not, or if you're, playing a role. So really, that's awesome, Lisette. And go ahead, Dwayne. Sorry to jump in there. Excited to hear what you have to say.
Oh no, you're good, bro. You're good. I would echo everything she says. I'm not a mom, but I'm a dad. And so anytime that I post about my kids and what's going on with them, just pictures of the voiceovers about why I do what I do and how I'm trying to impact their future, like it's a lot of engagement. But also anytime I do green screens, if I do a green screen about what's going on in the market, like things that happen that nobody, thanks. Yeah, we love moms too. But anything that's happening that people aren't really aware of, we're like when Fannie Mae changed the, what was it? The insurance thing they changed a couple weeks ago. Just subtle changes that could affect people in their buying power helps out a lot. And so like today I'm doing one about what to do if you have a tenant in your home and you're trying to sell it, because that's what I'm going through right now. But yeah, being a dad, being authentic, anytime that I'm just doing just regular life stuff or just going around the city, like people engage with me.
Dwayne, do you attract a lot of investors? How much of your business is investors?
Not a lot. I got this one from my Google My Business page. Her lender found me there and started like going through my social medias to make sure that what my reviews say line up with how my personality really is. And so that's how I got this one. And there's tenants in it. It's kind of been contentious, but I kind of smoothed that over by bringing a peace offering at that doorstep. And so now they do what I needed to do.
Hey, you just remind me, I did a post about that appreciation. Oh, that one was a good one. And I got a lot of traffic to that post. It was great.
Let's go. Man, I love what you guys are saying. The thing that I'm hearing that is sort of that I'm reading between the lines or extracting is, man, in real estate, you guys as entrepreneurs, you guys get all kinds of situations that you're just organically dealing with every day. Most people on this call would probably raise their hand if I say, who here deals with a dozen different things every single day? I would say most of you guys probably raise your hand, right? And so a lot of it, sometimes the content ideas are just fed to you, right? Dwayne's pulling from a real life scenario that he has. Lisette, you're pulling from some a bit of education that you're posting on. Dwayne mentioned Fannie Mae. Dude, you guys have so much. Elizabeth nailed this earlier. When you're in the real estate bubble, there's kind of this assumption, because this is the content or people you're engaging with, that everyone kind of knows the same things as you do. But your sphere, the people that are, buying and selling homes, they know almost nothing of what you know. They just know that you're the expert, or they should know, and they reach out to you. So any of these scenarios, right, that you can put out on content, whether it's in an educational format. Hey, what does this mean for you? Have you ever heard this term? Let me tell you really quickly what that means and why you should care about it, right? Or how to get, like you said, how to sell a home with the tenants still in it. Like these little scenarios that someone that's not in the real estate bubble could look at and go, that's interesting. And also it's presented to me in a very easily consumable, entertaining way. That's gold. So you guys don't have to like always think about what do I create? I got to be like this media company that's like writing a whole script and storyboard. Hopefully you can just pull from what you're seeing in your market and everyday life and just, all right, that was kind of cool. Let me make a post about this, right? And then over time, you'll see kind of what people like, what people engage with.
When, as Ransom said at the beginning, we come from the inside sales world, so hundreds of reps in a call center, and I was a trainer. And I would have 30 reps a month. And I always found that the days where I came and was super present and shared real life stories that were applicable and relevant to what we were learning that day, that's when we had the best days, right? And people learned and were fired up and went out and executed and implemented. And I think it's exactly what Ransom was saying here with content, right? What is your day-to-day like? What are the things you're going through? What are the things that you learn, like Dwayne said, right? And then sharing that. And where there's one, there's many. So if you have one client that has a question, there's going to be many other ones that have the same one. So we got 4 minutes left here. So let's just go into some Q&As. Any questions for us before we break? But this has been super awesome. Thank you guys for engaging and interacting with us. I hope this is valuable.
That sounded like a goodbye message, but we do have time for questions.
Well, I was just going to say, so we're all in we're on the tribe, and especially in Austin, if you guys are any of the events and things, you're going to see Blended Sense around quite a bit. Okay. And they're going to be capturing content. And what we're doing is we're pulling people. I don't know. They just did one with icons the other day. That was really cool. We're going to pull people and testimonials. And my goal for y'all too, is to be able to get content for you to use in your business. Right now, they're going to be around locally. With the tribe events, we'll pull people in and pull content and give you guys an asset as well. And then over time, we'll be able to branch it out into all the different markets. So any of the things that you guys attend, if we have Blended Sensitive, for those of y'all at shareholders, make sure you go to shareholders. They're going to be there. And what I think, and I haven't even told Albert and Ransom this yet, but I'm going to find a time. This is pure Elizabeth fashion, right? True Elizabeth fashion. I'm going to find a time and a place in an area where we can just come up and have a Q&A or a question. And then what they're going to be able to do later is chop it up and give that asset to you to use in your business and whatever it is. It doesn't have to be about EXP. It doesn't talk about the tribe. It doesn't talk about anything. You can talk about who you are and why people should work with you, or however you want to structure that. So if you're at shareholders, we're gonna piece away some time to be able to do that, and then you'll have some content later on. So I'm super tied in with Blended Sense, and so that means you guys are gonna just be drug along with me.
Hey, content for everyone. Let's go. Shareholders should be fun. There might be some fireworks at that. We'll see. I won't say too much.
So there's no might. It's absolutely gonna be a lot of fun. So if you guys don't have your tickets, already get your tickets, but we'll have Blended Sense there too. And if you guys are getting there on the 16th, I'm going to be putting something together. So, oh, by the way, Ransom and Albert, are y'all going to be there on the 16th?
We'll be there whenever we're needed there. So
okay, I'm going to need you on the 16th. We'll just do it now. So was this helpful, y'all? Yeah.
Yes, it was awesome. Thank you so much. I really, for me, it was pretty clear because sometimes we confuse marketing with branding. And what some, just told us it was great, like how to separate both things. Like this is the story and this is, what we are targeting to. So that was great. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Oh, no problem. Thanks
Thank
for
you guys.
Sorry, it's always kind of weird for us when we we come from the training. Like, we love this stuff. We can talk to you guys for legitimately 5 hours straight. We've done that before. So 1 hour, 1 hour is almost like what do we like? We have to fight ourselves from bouncing around because there's so many topics to cover in real estate, building your business, all the transaction types, all the personas you guys are dealing with, the various markets, your strategies, the content, the platforms. It's like, man, do we need like a 1 week seminar for this thing? And the answer is yes, we do. But we only have an hour. But man, from an actionable standpoint, I know we're at time here. If you take one thing from this, and it sounds like some of you guys are already doing this, just start posting something, right? And I know sometimes it's tough. Albert mentioned earlier, who cares if you post it and you get 3 likes on it, right? Hey, that's 3 likes is more than 0 likes. And then just start posting, right? And if nothing else, you're going to be getting out there. People are going to be seeing it. If you get 3 likes, you probably got, several dozen people that saw it. That's the start of branding. That's someone that saw you, heard you speak, heard you talk about something, you got imprinted on their brain. Maybe they scrolled past it, but the next time you post, it'll be the second imprint on their brain. And the next time it'll be the third imprint on their brain. And then eventually, right, they might be one of the ones that starts liking it because they're like, you know what, I've seen this lady, or I've seen this guy a few times and I really like their message, right? And so it's consistency. Don't get and for you'll get better on camera. The emotional hesitancy that Albert mentioned earlier, right? That's a big thing that we see all across the board. And I don't know what everyone's volume on this call is or how successful you've been in real estate. Doesn't matter. I can tell you with 100% certainty, we work with agents that do over $100 million a year. And those agents sometimes are the worst with, I don't know what to do when the camera turns on, or I don't know what to say, or what do I do with my hands, or how do I stand, or how do I sound, or was that good? Like they sometimes are even at the highest levels of success. So success does not equate to comfort with content. They're 2 independent paths. So biggest thing you can do is just start posting, figure out what message that you would deliver normally when you sit down with people, and just deliver that in front of the camera, because that's all you're doing. It's going to the same source, going to people that are interested. So it's no different than sitting down with someone for coffee.
There you go. You guys are amazing. Thank you so much. They're going to get to know you more and more. But I hope this was helpful for everybody. I want you guys to have an amazing Friday, an amazing St. Patrick's Day. I was going to say 4th of July. I'm a little bit off. St. Patrick's Day. And we'll connect next week.
If we want more information, how do we get in contact with you guys?
Oh man, thank you. Yeah, both of our names. Albert's got it. At
And next piece of content that anybody in here posts, tag Blended Sense, and we'll share it on our story and give you guys a shout out.
Oh, please.
Awesome.
There you go.
Let's go.
Thank you.
Let's go.
Thank you guys.
Thank you guys. Appreciate you. Thank you.
Appreciate it. We'll talk soon.